This exercise is part of the warm-up. So players on the outside have a ball and they're throwing it in as they would in a game. Players on the inside need to control the ball and pass it back as they would in a game. A couple of things that you need to make sure of here is the players on the outside, when the ball gets passed back out to them, they can't just pick the ball up. They're required to control the ball as they would in a game. Players on the inside, you will find that they always want to go to 5 or 6 yards away, straight in front of the player throwing it to them. Ask them to recreate game situations, so change the distance, change the angle that they're receiving the ball. It should be done quickly, where they're controlling and passing back with 2 touches in the first phase. In the second phase, allow them to slow down a little. They've got 1 touch to pass it back, and ask the guys on the outside to make sure that they are aiming their throw in, so it's head, chest, thigh or foot. In the third phase, there's no dynamic stretch. Players receive the ball, dribble through some traffic and pass to the players on the outside. For the next setup, we're looking at about an 8-yard triangle, 8 yards between each of the cones. It's very simple. In, back, forward, lay off, through. If you can get the players working quick enough, you should be able to get 2 footballs working in opposite directions. It will break down if the guy at 4 and the guy at 2 don't work quick enough. So as that ball goes forward, back and through, this guy needs to turn quickly, this guy needs to turn quickly to get the ball from the other side. That's where it will break down if they are not tuned in and quick enough. This exercise normally breaks down because you've got 2 footballs crossing each other. I will allow players the chance to try, fail, correct, and then I'll step in. 9 times out of 10 what I'll ask is for one of the footballs to be clipped in the air, the other football to be along the ground, or I'll be asked that to be inside the cone and another football to be outside the cone. This isn't a difficult setup, it's only difficult because players who are passing the ball diagonal don't look to see where the other football is or do not communicate. This exercise here is all about communication, pressing together and teamwork. So if the reds pass into the blue and this blue can't break that line, the red's done a good job holding them up, forcing them back. As soon as that ball goes into any one of these 3 defenders, these 3 attackers, the closest of the 3 defenders has to press. Then it becomes a 2v2, it can be a 3v3 or 4v4. But it's about pressure, communication, cover, balance. For the phase of play, we're looking at those same aspects: pressure, communication, cover and balance, to make sure that wherever the ball is, the players start to understand what I want. If the Blues win it, I'll be somewhere around the halfway line, they can pass to me, or they can break across the halfway line. The Reds, they're just trying to score an own goal. For the second of the training sessions of this week, this might look complicated, but it's actually quite easy. Players move in line with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The passes start at 2 and start at 7. So it's in, back, through, back, through. In, back, through, back, through. That's it. Consider the distance that you are working on in relation to the age group that you've got, and consider the angles. If you drop 10 and you drop 5 out a little bit, it might help the angle of the pass going into the end. Consider who you're working with and the age you're working with. I hear a lot about players not wanting to run during pre-season, but this is one where you can get a football, a goal and competition involved to make players run. From the red marker to this cone is 20 yards, players run straight out, come in, get a football and go to goal. The next progression to that is going round this cone here, round that cone there and going to goal. They can use the pugs, and I apologise for the size, I couldn't make them any smaller. If you go to goal it's 2 points, if you go to the pug it's 1 point. For the third progression that changes. So players will go round the pug, collect a football and they can go to goal for 1 point, or they can take on the defender and go to the pug for 2 points. Consider the players that you're working with to the size. For the 03 team that I'm working with, so the under 16 team that I'm working with, All this has been done within the confines of the 18-yard box. This game's all about transition. So your team can have possession of the ball and I will call free kick. If your team has possession of the ball in your defensive, midfield or attacking third, I want you to drop back, get in a good defensive shape and try and close down the opposition. If you are the team who are defending when I call free kick, you get the ball, you start the attack. So if it's in your defensive third or your midfield third, I want you to try and attack as quickly as possible. Get the ball forward and attack. If it is in the attacking third, I will allow you a breath. Take a moment and see how you can attack the opposition to most devastating effect. Playing within half a field, I want to look at playing out options. So I'll start the ball either as a goal kick, or from here I'll kick the ball into the goalkeeper and just ask them to play out, and I'll give them options. You'll have your way of playing out, I have my way of playing out. I won't tell you how to do that. For the final session of the week, after a good warm up, the players start with their fitness session. So players attack the goal in front, defend the goal across, collect the football after it's done and go and join the opposite line. If you find that the defenders are having too much joy, you can increase the distance between the goals. If you're finding the attackers are having too much joy and scoring goals, you can increase the distance between the gate and the goal or decrease the distance between the goals. Very simple setup, but it should be done at 100% because when the players collect the ball and go to the end of the line, they've got a recovery period. So it should be done at 100%. This is a session that I have stolen from Albirex Niigata in the S League. This is an 8x8 box, and the red team throw the ball to the blues. As soon as they throw the ball to the blues can run forward with the ball until they get tagged. If a player gets tagged with the ball, they can throw the ball sideways or backwards, but they can't run forward anymore. Reds need to take up a good defensive position, so one pressing the ball, one covering. If that ball gets thrown across, one presses to try and tag, one drops back and covers. This is how we start building up understanding of where, when and how to press. Going back to this same setup that we've done before, can we get the closest player pressing the ball? Start working together as a cohesive defensive unit. In this exercise, I start with the ball here. I kick or throw the ball into one of the defenders and they've got to clear it into one of the two halves. So this vertical line splits the halves. Then it becomes a 4v3. If the Reds win the ball, they can go to the pug or they can pass the ball on to me. If the Blues are successful, they break into this end zone and they can go to goal. As soon as someone breaks across this end zone, everyone's in play. The red team, the defensive team who are on the opposite side of this vertical line, can move in relation to the ball. They just can't come across that line. So they can drop back behind that and they can be in position in anticipation of the ball crossing that line, but they can't step across. The Blues as well cannot pass across that line. If the Reds have done a good enough job that it forces the Blues across the line, they win. That's the 3 sessions for the week. If you guys have got any questions, please feel free to get in touch.